Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, a team league match from the caster Civil War. Two of the most stacked teams you could draft if you were being fair about it have made it to the finals. I don't think you're going to be even a little bit surprised to see some of the names here. But these are the teams of the illustrious Pig and the inimitable Wardi. Now, I do want to say, a little suspicious that this is the finals of Wardi's tournament. And he's in it. So, I want to put a big before the like and subscribe on this video. But, with that said, in this best of 5, a series of best of 1s, the first players on each team, we have, in the bottom right, from the Stasis Wardis. Yes, the Stasis Wardis. SkyZerg player. It is Solar. Nope, Solar. I'm not sure the exact format for picking who's playing on what map. I believe it was blind pick, and then after that you can choose your player, and then the losing team can choose theirs. But I'm not 100%. I might just be making that up. Sounds like a good format to me, though. Anyways, if either team gets to 3, they win. We may see all 5 members. We may not. Especially if this man starts off for Pig's team. Goat in the gang. And our grass-grazing friend. Of course, the world champion. The finisher. It's Serral. Just a better version of everything. Honestly, Solar is probably the Zerg player who reminds me the most of Serral. Who isn't Serral? So, very similar style, just a good all-around Zerg. But Serral is just a little bit better. And since there's no super heavy aggression to start, I think we can bring up the team rosters. Jimmy, can we get the team rosters up real quick? Who could be coming out next? Serral, Bunny, Lambo, Armani, and DNS for Goat in the gang. ByuN, Solar, Classic, Creator, and Spirit on the roster for the Stasis Wardis. Wardi drafting 4 Korean players. Once again, Wardi, Just saying. Just throwing that, just asking questions. So let answer next. They go their separate ways after a heated conversation. Solar is going to be the first to start the aggression. The seesaw back and forth of the Zerglings. There are overlords in place. Serral does have a Baneling nest on the way. I think Solar skipped his in order to do some Zergling aggression. The Queens on their way down to defend the third. Brenda! What? Heron. What? We're building Banelings. Calm down! Yes, enough Banelings to defend and box out. And Serral, how much has he seen on the other side? He's so good with those lanes. He saw the Roach Warren building, and he saw the third timing, which should be enough to tell him this isn't going to be a game-ending attack. The Baneling, Solar splits off a little bit. Will negate one, but there are 2 more, just enough. Solar actually eliminates the scouting lanes. The worker count is 29 to 28. Serral decides to springboard back to the other side of the map. As he knows, with no Banelings, there's a chance... Well, the Roach Warren doesn't preclude Banelings, but it's very unlikely you go for Roach Warren so quick with the Banes. Yeah, Serral actually reading this as a Roach All-in. And indeed it is. If Solar had Banelings somehow, then it would be very dangerous. But of course, those cost gas, and so do Roaches. A huge Roach follow-up. There's already 10 Roaches on the field. Serral has not made any drones. He's known exactly what he's dealing with. I think right up until this exact moment. Will he cancel the Banes on seeing these Roaches? Or does he just try to bust it? Wow. He just commits to all the Banes. He may just try to bust through into the Roaches. The splash damage is not overwhelming, but it is something. And, of course, he can head anywhere else. A good positioning from Solar. Going to hold the line for now. The Baneling's kind of... Actually, Serral... if he gets any connections on the drones, it might be worth it. Serral losing a few drones of his own. Heading into the main. The queens were pulled down. There's no creep between the bases. Actually, 4 Banelings is all it takes. He pulled the cord on the attack and decided to go for the drones in time, it looks like. Gets 8 drones thus far. And then the Banelings are shut down, so Solar took an economic hit. But remember, there's a dozen roaches out right now. It's not like Serral has an overwhelming economy himself. I'm not surprised to see this aggression. These are best of ones. There's no real time to figure out what your opponent's going to be doing this series because this is the game you're playing. Okay. You only get one. Otherwise, might as well just put Serral on your team and call it a day. Well, actually, right now, it's kind of unclear. Solar's added on that Bane nest. But Serral gets in with a handful of Lings, kills 4 more drones, but Lings coming in from Solar, slipping through, nothing at the wall. Overwhelming the reinforcing Lings of Serral. The rest have to come back. A couple Lings, the oldest trick in the book. Couple Banelings in the corner, Serral noticed. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, he knows. Is he gonna take the risk? Solar immediately cancels. Not sure how much the Baneling got in the center. 56 to 68 Zerglings dying. With Solar having a slight advantage there. Now the roaches are here. Serral's going to be giving up his third. And trying a counterattack. An Evo Chamber wall. Just a hard wall to try to delay things. Solar looking to upset Serral in game 1. Well, Solar actually is pulling back. He's comfortable. 3 bases, build some drones. Both sides building some drones. Honestly, I think this is a great call. At first, I was wondering, why wouldn't you just keep going? Like, you won the fight, just keep going. But Solar has a little more foresight. He realizes there's an unknown amount of units coming out of Serral. He runs the risk of getting pincered by the Lings on the map. So he pulls back. He's got 3 bases. He's got that production. And even if Serral retakes his third, Solar has managed to gain an advantage. The larva production on the head, it's not for the economy really, at least not yet. But the larva production, the built-in larva production on the hatchery is the big loss for Serral, on top of the fact he has to rebuild the hatchery and pay for that as well. So the worker counts, Solar staying even, Serral pushing out some more drones. The army supplies are dead even. The upgrades, +1 carapace for Solar. +1 ranged attack for Serral. And that means he's going to be leaning even harder on these roaches. The ranged attack is a more effective upgrade in Roach versus Roach than the carapace upgrade is. But the carapace upgrade does help the Zerglings not get 2-shot by the roaches. Overall, since weapon upgrades scale, that means if you're only making roaches, it's almost always preferable to go for +1 attack as opposed to carapace. But Solar looks like he's got a mixed bag. He's wielding that extra larva and carving it in the Zerglings. A lair. The first lair, 9 minutes in. Zerg versus Zerg. Back to the aggressive. Jimmy, can we... Back to the knife fight. Especially on a map as open as Berlingrad. Solar dancing around. +1 carapace means Zerglings won't die in one hit to Banelings either. They'll be left with 1 HP and a whole lot of dread. Solar spamming those units right now. Hasn't even started a lair. No intentions on it. Both players with nearly 100 army supply of hatch tech. Well, here comes Solar. It's 26 roaches for Serral, but a whole 75 Zerglings. Serral +1 ranged attack is done. The Zerglings streaming through. Gotta be careful. Another round of Banelings finish up. The Ravagers, a volley of corrosive bile. The Banelings looking for a connection. The Zerglings forced to dodge to the side. Serral holding the line with the roaches for now, but the Ravagers starting to break through. Serral somehow. He holds. And he crushes the front. and whittles down the roaches. The banelings must have done enough. Somehow, Serral understood. It was very unclear to me, and I think Solar, how that fight was going, but Serral barely moved. Confident, and I guess for good reason, that he had that locked down. The only thing that moved were the banelings to try to box out the lings. Oh, Solar is kind of stuck on this track right now. The Zerglings, but Serral at the wall. The one queen, enough. Trying to hit, I don't know if he's aiming for the Overlord or just throwing things out there. Spray and pray. Well, Serral has a lair. He hasn't started roach speed, though I imagine that's going to be very soon. Solar's going to try to... The thing is, he doesn't even really have map control right now. Oh, Solar finished a lair during this. He actually gets roach speed first. Serral's like, well, you do not need speed if you're simply in the right position all of the time. Okay, Serral, I gotta... Technically correct. He does start his roach speed upon seeing that Solar is getting his. It is hard to be in the right position if your opponent is 30% faster than you. Solar definitely playing catch-up here. That Spire is... He really has to sell this to Serral. He knows that Serral has seen the roach speed and the continued upgrades. He really needs to pretend like he's continuing an attack, because if Serral gets any wind of this Spire before it finishes, he's in a great spot to either just do a big attack and kill him before Mutas can do anything, or, well, I'm not sure. I get Hydras, the only time Hydras are decent anti-air is really against the Mutas. Right now, Serral, though, he's getting Burrow. Maybe Tunneling Claws will be the choice, and the Zerglings get in. He sees the Spire when it's 2/3 done. Oh, no. It's far enough along that Solar has already committed to it, but it's not done. So Serral has plenty of time to build a Hydralisk den and get Hydras out before the Mutas can go across the map. He's also got Overlord speed, which he can use to pull back all but a handful of Hovies to make sure no damage is taken. Overall, well, it's easy to underestimate the Mutas in ZVZ. Hydras are kind of a linear strength, where two Hydras is about twice as good as one Hydra. But two Mutas are not the same, especially since flying units can stack up and not trip over each other to attack. You get to 15, 20 Mutas and you can start picking off everything but the main army. That does look to be Solar's intention, with a Roach Bane Bludgeon. I take it back on the Mutas. He's just going to build all of the Banelings. The intent here is to smash Serral's army. That's hopefully squishy enough. And then mop up the survivors with the roaches. This, well, it may very well work, but Baneling speed really does need to be done. I'm not entirely sure what he's firing, though. Oh, he misclicked his changelings. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Contaminate on Bane speed! Not only does Serral scout it, but he stops it. What about half of this build is reliant upon Serral just press the pause button. And now we'll push forward without the main component of the attack, the Banelings being involved. Burrow move roaches make it into the main and the natural. Here come the Banelings. The Hydra's actually in a bit of an awkward spot, but slow Banes off creep. Don't make me chuckle. Well, the Banelings get mediocre connections. Serral still has a few Hydras left over. Roaches in the main. Roaches in the third. The roaches in the natural were cleaned up. He leaves some in the fourth. Kills 20 drones. Backs off. You gonna tap 2 Gs? Or you gonna come try to fight? Serral retreats before the army can come together. And Solar is left picking up the pieces. Oh no. Well, it looked like... I think Solar made a good call on going for that early pressure. Trying to get either a win or far ahead. Unfortunately, that lead is no longer in existence. Serral has picked him apart. Yes, the Ravagers, a good set of corrosive vials, maybe. But Bromu roaches can also potentially just get underneath the army. More roaches. Solar doesn't really have... Time is on Serral's side. It moves up, corrosive vials, stutters back, pushes up to the high ground, moves past the next set, eliminates him. Game 1 goes to GOAT. The rest will have to be done by the gang. We will see. Serral with a commanding mid-game performance after a rocky start. So, first off, now don't spoil it. But it's always fun to well, what's it gonna be? Who's coming up next? Got everybody on the screen there. So, I believe, and if I'm just making it up, well, it's still a fun format. Right now, Pig's team has to pick a player. And then, Wardi's team gets to counter it. Or they were already preset matches the whole time. That's also the option. But I choose to believe the first one. So, while you're thinking... I'm sorry. This entire time I thought it was Pig. I'm giving Pig too much credit, alright? Wow. Why did I have no idea why I thought it was Pig. Pig, Catz, sorry. Animals. It makes sense. Goat is an animal, and Pig is also a farm animal. So, for some reason, you see where I'm going with this. It makes sense. So, I'm sorry. Catz, not a farm animal. So, that threw me off. I mean, I guess they could be. It's just, you know what bunnies are? No? Bunnies are on farms. So, we're getting to something here. But, what we are more importantly getting to is game 2 with Catz's team. I do apologize to Catz for that. Well, make your picks. I already know. And you may have already heard some of it in the game. Classic comes out against Lambo. Yes. We have Lambo, one of the smartest Zerg players out there. Hasn't, well, unfortunately overshadowed somewhat by several other European Zergs. Historically, Europe has been, I guess, the spawning pool for many Zerg players. Whereas the other regions really have struggled to keep up with that when it comes to Zerg. On the other side, the returning Pro Toss player, one of the most technical Pro Toss out there. We do have Classic for the Stasis Wardis. Now, best of 1. This is the preferred format for Pro Toss. According to the ladder, at least. This is when that all those shenanigans you have prepared, you have a whole deck that you only need to pull 1 card. I do think, especially in this Team League format, it definitely does give a better place to those YOLO toss players. Or the deck builders. Because you only need to get that 1 game. Oh my god, Lambo destroys the cleaning bot and says, "You're next, probe." Wow, I can't believe I thought it was Pig the whole time. Is it really the farm? Am I that much of a donkey? Then I would also be on the farm. Oh no. Oh, I think it's time to go to a farm upstate and stop casting. So Catz drafted Serral. I imagine, I'll be honest, I didn't tune in to the draft, but Is there any way, based on the order... Oh, I remember. It was actually... We might need to cast that as well. The way the draft order was selected was a free-for-all match between the casters. So Catz must have won that free-for-all, and with it, Serral. You're like, well, he might have picked... No, I'm pretty confident. And that does seem to be the order on the listing of the teams as well. Honestly, instead of saying you get to draft first, they should have just been Serral goes to the winner, and everybody else can start drafting afterwards. Not like we're doing it. That is kind of... Moving on. Oracle on the way. Classic opened up with Stargate into Oracle, the most generic standard macro opener. Gets a third off of it and has 2 gates. Lambo. Oh, I thought he was going to get the Zergling in, which wouldn't have seen anything, but nothing is something in and of itself. No Spore Crawler in the main. And 2 Queens are... Yeah, this is quite a combo. Lasers, am I right? Oracle does get out. Gets a little spicy. Void Ray comes in, trying to melt an Ovi. Wow, that's disrespectful. Meanwhile, Adepts... Okay, that was a bit ambitious. Recalls... I'm not a huge fan of these recalls, personally. Not that anyone asked, but... Whenever I see a pro player recall like an adept that may or may not be alive at the end, I think, really? It's not like a 1-minute cooldown. It's quite extensive. I believe a little over 2 minutes. Or is it 2 minutes? Either way. But it never feels like it's worth it. That adept just died. Well, I'm glad you brought it home. Good thing that adept was there. Oh, Stasis Wardi! Was he obligated to do this because of the team name? I don't know if it was in his contract, but here we are. Templar. Wow. Classic! You can't just get everything. Classic goes from 1 Void Ray, 1 Oracle, and a handful of Zealots, all the way to Robo, Templar, Archives, Charge, and +1. He didn't start Storm. Which I guess is the only admission that maybe he'll need gas. Yeah, warps in some Templar, I assume for some Archons. There it is. Lambo. So, it is this awkward scenario with Zerg right now. He's just gonna go out. Really? We're gonna do Archon drop harass? Okay. The deal is we don't build Hydras. For those who don't know... Oh, another Stasis Wardi. Wow, that distracted me so much. I completely forgot. Anyways, we don't build Hydras. Because Hydras are best used as lurker eggs, and lurkers are best used in Zerg versus Terran. They just don't have the anti-air or anti-ground capability of Roach, Baneling, and then maybe a Corruptor-based army. So, I assume that this Spire is not for Mutas, but instead for at least a handful of Corruptors to start. Because at this point, you kind of got to get out ahead of the potential SkyToss. I don't think there's any expectation that Mutalisks are going to be a deadly option. Oh, Archon's actually getting in, getting some damage. And then he builds a few... Okay, just enough to take out that Warp Prism. Shaping up to be... Oh, okay, and then more... What do I know? He just keeps... It's the ultimate mind game. The Mutas were scouted, so therefore they will be countered. So therefore he won't build Mutas. So I should build Mutas because he won't think that I'll build Mutas because I know that he knows that I know that he knows I have Mutas. Try to keep up. There goes the Oracle. Lambo does not have an infestation pit, and of course, since that's a prerequisite, no hive. That means Classic should know he needs to just lock things down. Once the mutas are spotted, and they already were by the Oracle, it should become very clear that aggressive intentions are next up. There's the infestation pit. Baneling nest finished. Lambo's gonna try to slam the 4th base. And right now, Classic doesn't have that much army supply. He's quickly growing it, but he's not maxed out compared to Lambo, who's got 83 drones. Of course, there's a lot of anti-Phoenix, and Archons are kind of just anti-everything. Well, looks like Classic's choice to shy away from the heavy tech and go for the more bulky army here has paid off. Brenda! They can't transfuse. They're providing some anti-air, but it looks like the lack of corruptors. Yeah, Classic just comes bowling across the map, picks up the Constellation Queens, and knocks them down. Well, so this is kind of highlighting why just going mutas is not necessarily a winning play. It's not over. Classic playing safe, backing off and getting a storm. There is the risk of just getting run over on creep, so why take that risk? I think Classic has... Whoa! He just shot his own banelings, which is one of the more dramatic ways of canceling your banelings, I guess. I have no idea what happened there. So the mutas are microing against the... Oh, there's a... Wow, Classic with the select all army. Oh my god. The loco hotkey is coming through again. He actually just moved his entire army to chase the mutas, and that allows Lambo to move in here with a decent concave on those Archons. Not nearly enough units to deal with it, but Classic almost making the most diamond mistake you possibly can. Meanwhile, though, the Phoenixes were across the map, picking up whatever they could get a hold of. Lambo scrambles back with the Corruptors. Why are we shooting random things? Is he trying to spread creep tumors and missing the button? What are these corrosive biles continually killing? He is maxed out, but then he built more lings, so I can't imagine either way. Well, meanwhile, army at the front. That is an anti-Zerg army. This, you do not... How many immortals? He's got 11 immortals. 11 immortals on their own. Whoa, 27 probes. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I saw a disturbance. Nope, a disturbance. I'm not missing this. We gotta... Well, this changes everything. Are those? They're not even +2 melee. It was just a bunch of banelings. So while all this was happening, I missed it. Classic missed it. Lambo, 27 probes with a baneling to preside over the base. Classic probably going to be a little more concerned after that, but his army supply is huge. The storms, they hit as the banelings pop out bruised. A lot of Archons, a lot of storm. I'm not exactly sure how Lambo intends to deal with this. As long as there are any storms, the banelings can be zoned out. The Queen's just kind of getting involved. The pre-storms here. Storms on both sides, washes across everything. The banelings evaporate, the immortals stand tall. And Classic just bashing through. Whoa, that was more one-sided than a Mobius strip right there. That Lambo never really got anything going. He got a few wins, but the thing is, when you use 15 banelings to kill 27 probes, I'm not even sure you come out ahead economically. At least in the short term. So Classic puts one on the board for the Stasis Wardis. That was... He kind of bullied him a little bit there. All right, so we got to cross Classic and Classic and Solar, 1-1, and then Lambo and Serral for the Stasis Wardis. That leaves us now with, well, Catz has Bunny, Armani, and DNS. Probably the less well-known players. So that doesn't necessarily mean worse, of course, especially in these best of ones. And that also leaves the Stasis Wardis with ByuN, Creator, and Spirit. Some pretty big names there, especially Creator being a GSL finalist. But, once again, best of ones. Who's it gonna be? Loading in. For Goat and the gang, we have another Zerg. Catz's Armani. Overshadowed by all the other Zergs we've seen today. But definitely a very... Honestly, Armani is kind of like Cure for Zerg. Except Cure 3 years ago, not Cure today. Cure the... I made it to the round of 16 again! That's nice, Cure. Except that's Armani today. On the other hand, Creator is also in that category right up until this GSL season. Creator, who's been at GSL for like 12 years now, on and off, but mostly on. It's like, I made it to the round of 16, and I beat Cure. Round of... Oh. That is kind of the zone we're in. We're in that tier 1.1 players, with any of them capable of beating anyone, but usually not favored against most of the rest of the teams. Definitely a solid mid-tier draft, I will say, of the players available. I'm not sure what round they came through, but... Wait, is the draft... I believe the draft is just in order here. The more I look at this page, the more obvious it is. Serral, Bunny, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. If Serral, Reynor, Maru, Rogue, ByuN, Thermal, Clement, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are in order. So Armani was drafted in the 4th round. As was Creator. So. Yeah, okay, I think we figured it out. It's... Either that or they're listed by ESL points, but it would be very confusing to draft otherwise. Stargate. So it is DVP again, but I do expect a very different style here. What do I mean? I don't actually know. I've seen Creator versus Rogue, but Rogue didn't really let Creator be very creative. Armani is going for the blue standard here. We got 3 Hatch, Zergling speed, handful of lings, building queens, like... Everything is almost... So far, I very likely could have cast this game with my eyes closed. So we're going to give it a shot for a while. All right. In the main, the queen poking at the adept. Oh, dodges it. And shades away. The adept ends up dying anyways, though. Good thing no recall there. Uncancels. And then a Void Ray finishing up. Oracle behind it. Bold choice. And with Warp Gate coming online, may just be opting for that 3rd. Void Ray takes out the Overlord. A little bit of Chrono Boost added on. And then, of course, with the Creep Spread coming together and the Hatchery at the natural, Armani is going to add on a handful more drones and then maybe look towards the next level of tech. All right. It's restful. There's the third from Creator. Couple more adepts. You know, I probably should just kept my eyes closed. The casting would have been better. 2 drones down. I'm kind of surprised to see the commitment here. And also the lack... Do the stasis on the high ground. There's an obligation for every Protoss to do at least one stasis ward if you're on Team Stasis Wardi. Which does seem like quite a handicap. Micro... Okay. Is he... He really wanted to get in and see... Well, whatever's going on. In this case, another Stargate. I think Creator intentionally holding off +1 air weapons, so that way he doesn't give away his build so early. Because otherwise, it does feel odd to delay it for that long if you're going to go for the Mass Void Ray or Phoenix strategy, whichever direction it ends up being. Lair finishing up for Armani. Couple Evo chambers. Does he have a Roach Warren? No. Wow, he's... Ooh, Armani. Armani. And then he starts ranged attack. Is this a Hydra timing? You know you don't have a Roach Warren, right, Armani? Overlord speed. Ranged attack upgrade. No more queens in production, which is also kind of odd. So, it's unclear where Armani's going with this, but Creator is going everywhere else, which is Void Rays, and then... Oh, a Stasis Wardi! There it is. Void Ray, Robo Bay, Forge. Armani still hasn't... I guess Queens use ranged attack. Very relevant. Wow, they're doing quite well with that. Aspire. Well, you saw how it went in Lambo versus Classic, but this is definitely a different situation. Creator sending everything out with this army is saying, dude, I'm attacking you. You must build units. Armani is not convinced. If you look at this army, this is not a game-ending army. I would be a little surprised if Armani takes the bait and starts spamming units. Yeah, he adds a drone. Just one drone doesn't really tell a story, but hasn't committed to anything serious yet. He's really trying to figure out whether he's bluffing here. But we, of course, know that with this many gateways, there just simply isn't the army on the field for a Creator to realistically attack. Creator, like, you can't... He goes Robo Bay into another Stargate with a Forge and a Fleet Beacon. Overseer is about to see everything. Yep, Fleet Beacon, Forge. Oh yeah, and also there's Lings here. The Disruptor had to shoot its own base. Definitely more of an offensive unit. Oracle. 1 HP. Armani will now realize, okay, so you're doing everything but building gateway units. So I can get to 80 drones, Corruptors, Infestation Pit. Infestation Pit. I'm sorry. Infestation Pit. Armani, you have 1,200, 1,500, 1,200. Armani spent this entire game deciding what to spend his money. Oh, God. Okay. Well, the Oracle gets away again. 13 Mutas! He's going SkyZerg. The problem is, Creator already has 4 bases, and he's already got 3 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon. This is not like a soft-shell crab over here. This is a fully hardened turtle. The SkyZerg is more for slapping down the 2 or 3 base Stargates. I'm interested to see whether or not he can find the opportunity here. Yep. Oh, he sees the mutas. That is a lot of them. That's really the only option here. Yeah, the problem is the shield battery overcharge. He burns through the corruptors. Yes, the prismatic alignment, he can cancel it. So Armani is trying the advanced version of just make mutas and pray. Wow, Creator has no respect for this strat. Not building a single Phoenix. Which actually does seem like it could backfire here. He's building no Phoenixes, which means the mutas will be able to run him around. Wow, what a variety pack Pro Toss we have. Gateways, carriers, disruptors, void rays, +1/+1. Charge lots. There's nothing in the wall, though. And a bunch of Zerglings are going to get in. And this is a disaster for Creator right now. Right? It is a disaster. It should be a disaster. Kill the pylon. Yeah. Well, it is a minor disaster. It is definitely off-putting. Especially if the Zealots die, and they do. Do Void Rays counter Mutas. +1 is done for both sides. Carrier shows up, making things a little more interesting. Armani just keeps throwing lings in through the breach in the wall, and Creator starting to crumble. Yeah, this is where things can definitely go wrong. There's a reason that Zealot is such a mainstay in the wall off here. Things will be cleaned up. The Disruptor's just looking for something to shoot that doesn't have Protons all over it. Infestation Pit is finally finished and Hive on the way for Armani. So, even after all this, Armani is still kind of left scrambling with the mutas. Creator has decided it's time to attack. So, are we going to get it? Are we base trading? Is that what we're doing? The Void Rays are headed back. They do have Flux Fangs. I take it back. So, the army, Creator just trickling the army across. But the Queens are not much of a match for this unless they can actually get the carrier. Disruptors are showing up. Mutas are flying back. Disruptor shot takes out a chunk of the Zerglings. Another Disruptor. Yeah, the Disruptor is not finding much here. Fungal shows up. If you're going to recall, it should have been yesterday. Well, the mutas come back. We'll deal with this. Archon's doing a lot of damage. Void Rays here. Decent split. Not that much fungal left. Not enough to kill these. Muta count isn't high enough. They do heal. What a weird exchange. Fires a shot. Mutas pick it off. 10 more mutas on the way. Here comes some Zealots. So, and I guess now just back off. Nope, wait. Comes around the side. These are some of the most confusing engagements because neither side is quite capable of decisively killing the other. The Creator has a lot of Void Rays. There are Vipers on the way. Zerglings have gotten into the main where they might be able to depower or even outright kill the Fleet Beacon. The mutas are looking to get whatever they can, and the Void Ray count is tenuous at best. Meanwhile, Zerglings are just ripping through the main base. Not much they can do on the ground against this many Zealots. So, Creator, it might remember, technically, the way you eliminate someone from a game of StarCraft is to kill all their buildings. A recall to the 4th, and that might become more relevant than most games. The main base is falling apart. There's only one Stargate left. It seems a little late on the Phoenixes to be countering mutas. But I guess better late than never. There are burrowed infestors, but now Vipers finally join the field. And Parasitic Bomb is actually quite good. If there's a Wombo combo, Parasitic Bomb, Fungal, you can just hold them in place. Those Void Rays will melt quick. And that's really the only way to deal with this massive Void Rays without overwhelming mutas. and literally killing every Archon before they get within the same zip code. So, this is... They both carve into each other. Creator still has relatively fresh mining bases and 46 probes, but he is supply blocked and lost almost all of his tech. Armani lost his mining bases and most of his drones, but still has a bunch of mutas and infestors. So, it's... Is there Neural Parasite? No! Neural Parasite would be so good! Fungal's very good, but Neural Parasite on Archons, plus everything else? Oh, he's trying to bait him. He's trying to bait the Void Rays. I think Creator's a little suspicious here. Where's the Parasitic Bomb? Throws one out. Throws two out. The split from Creator is... And that's a technical term. The Mutas will fight an Archon. They'll pay for it, but not enough. He could abduct the Archon. Oh, there's also Zerglings in the main. Oh, the Observer is going to be canceled and killed. Waiting for some fungal. I'm not... He targets one Viper. Gonna lose 3 Void Rays, but oh, Hero the Templar. Zealots and 3 Adepts just left over from before. We are underneath... Well, I'm... Alright, well, the Mutas... it's over. Armani wins. So... At some point, he just kind of ran out of Void Rays, which, well, that was a mess. Oh my. 2-1. Looks like Goat and the gang on match point. So, if you are the Stasis Wardis. Yes, if you're the Stasis Wardis and you're on match point, what players haven't we seen yet? Spirit and ByuN. Any guesses? Well, I think there will be at least 2 ByuNs in this next game. And maybe an N left over. If I had to guess. ByuN versus Bunny is game 4. TVT. Which, in my humble and uneducated opinion, is probably... I don't know. I was about to say ByuN's worst matchup, but... It's honestly a little unclear. Because ByuN has a tendency to really be stylistic in Terran versus Protoss and Zerg. But TVT it's probably a little better to have that opportunity. Terran vs. Terran is incredibly technical, and it can be micro-oriented. So I would put ByuN up there as, especially early game, one of, if not the best micro players. Bunny is, and I haven't seen that many of his games, especially not TVT. Very solid. Very solid. For those who don't know, if you're a caster, what you do is when you don't know anything, you just say, but you know they're pretty good, you just say they're very solid. And then, like, what does that mean? It means they don't lose that much, and you don't know anything else. Because I honestly haven't seen Bunny play in a few months, so... So it looks like a mirror matchup based on the entire production tab. As we do have Reaper, Factory, both players expanding relatively quick. We're on Curious Minds. You got a ramp to the high ground. A little easier to defend in the early game. Checking that employee entrance where the Reapers can jump in as well. Looks like we're going to have a very safe game. It's all riding. I don't know if ByuN is a stranger to high-pressure situations as a world champion, but this is match point for his team. And by that I mean Spirit. So here's the thing. Your Spirit, aka formerly known as Soul, I was about to say Solid, but the up-and-coming Terran, who made quite a splash from the elimination bracket at I Am Katowice. But then it comes down to you. The only players left are Spirit and DNS, who are both kind of... I think probably both of them want their teammate to win. And also, in some ways, they want them to lose. Because either way, if ByuN wins here, Spirit, it's all on him. If he loses, no pressure. DNS, if Bunny wins, well, we did it, team! But if Bunny loses, match point. It's a unique situation for SC2 players. Because, obviously, we don't usually play well with others. We're trained not to, in fact. Rarely are there team events, even in the form of 1v1 leagues. Though it's not unheard of. So, especially with these players who were literally drafted to your team. It's definitely a unique dynamic, considering the social skills of many StarCraft players. And language barriers and all of that. Wow, ByuN, why do you have 6 Hellions? I just glossed all over this. What? Well, I said ByuN bring... Wait, is this how we play TVT? I'm sorry, I must have missed a month or two. Is this what we're doing now? Because they're both doing the same thing, and they both have 6 Hellions on the high ground and are now building a Raven and a Cyclone. I am behind the times, wow. Auto turret, but ByuN, is there a scan? No. We'll be able to get away. It's pretty crazy. It is one of those situations, I think, where you can't really stop building a unit because then your opponent will have 1 or 2 more of it. It's like the Viking Wars or the Raven Wars, where, especially in the early game, before you have really much filler, in the form of usually Marines, having 1 more unit can just win you the game. It's not easy to do so, but that could be the deciding factor. Vikings on the way now for Bunny. ByuN, is this his 3rd Raven? Okay. So, ByuN just taking every part of your standard TVT build and adding 3 more of the same unit. Or at least 1 or 2. This is, I bet ByuN is going bio, especially based on the fact he's building barracks. But the hallmark of bio builds in TVT is not upgrading stim until like the 8-minute mark. We're gonna get to about nearly 100 supply before ByuN starts stim. Bunny, only a little ahead of him. Because Marines, for once, are not... They just don't stack up against all these early mech units. Only when you need meat for the grinder. That's when you start throwing them in. Dead even supplies. So Bunny a little heavier on the army supply. ByuN trying to move out and take his base. Gotta be a little careful here. The scan? Wait, oh, that's ByuN's scan. Making sure he doesn't make any mistakes. He really wants to grab that 3rd location. It's quite difficult to dislodge an entrenched position. They're not called walk away at the first sign of trouble tanks. That probably wouldn't be good for marketing. Well, the Vendaya scan, both sides, scouting. Bunny just jams himself up under the base, though. Stim might be targetable. The scramble gets 2, going for all 3. No, drops an auto turret to clean up the tanks while fighting the rest. ByuN trying to carve off the head of this attack and successfully decapitates Bunny. There's a bit of an awkward exchange in the middle of the map, but ByuN gets the better of that too. Bunny, very bold to move out against that many Ravens. And he scouted the Ravens, too. He should have known. ByuN rationing out his energy quite well. One starts. The 2 engineering bays just now kicked off. For Bunny. Oh. The auto turrets ByuN is going for right now. Bunny slaps down some auto turret ByuN. Ambitious didn't have enough Raven energy in the Viking count. He has to hit the deck. A submissive gesture. That made it worse that I couldn't say the word. And now it's awkward. But so it's also awkward to be the lone Viking against 7 Vikings, so just encapsulating the situation. Both sides are a bit ambitious about their ability to damage a defensive Terran. Once again, they're not called pick up and walk away tanks. Siege tanks indeed. And with those Vikings having the extra air superiority and ability to see even further. So, I think with that kind of false start of an attack from ByuN, we're now settling in. There was a risk if Bunny botched the defense that ByuN just walks over him. But that risk is gone. Wow. Well, Bunny also has the opportunity to throw it right back, I will say. He does have air superiority, and he has a Liberator, which he can use to try to carve open these positions. But ByuN! What? Out of nowhere! ByuN just snipes off a tank or 2. 2 unsiege tanks coming up. I'm not sure if that's intentional. I'm not sure who's flanking who here, but ByuN has a whole lot of units. Bunny struggling. The tanks... Well, the Liberator's doing quite well for themselves, but... Okay, everybody... Wow, Bunny. Oof. Hopped right into it. Yikes. He just taps out, doesn't even give ByuN an opportunity to throw. The thing is, he lost his air superiority and his tanks, which are the 2 pieces you usually need to get something done. If you have one of those, you can make it work. If you have none of those, well, still, well. Bunny. Spirited DNS abruptly thrown into the ace match to decide the entire tournament. It all comes down to a best of 1 between the Polish Terran and the French Protoss. Team Catz versus Team Wardi. Can the gang come through for the GOAT? Or do the Stasis Wardis freeze them at the finish line? Let me introduce the final match. In the bottom right of the Stasis Wardis. SkyZerg Gaming's Terran player Spirit. Formerly known as Soul. On the bottom right of Blackburn. Root Gaming's DNS. Goat in the gang. That's pretty early probe you got there. A beginning of the game probe scout. Classic. Well, Classic already played and won convincingly, but Classic would love it if he wasn't on the other team. Yeah, I think he's more worried about proxy racks than he is about actually doing anything to Spirit. Because Blackburn is... It's not a standard map. It's close, but you can definitely do some early shenanigans. Even when it comes down to... Oh, Just try to bide time until the shields are back. And if there's enough shields, he can turn and fight. But they're both dancing around. Watch out! Oh, don't lose the probe. It's at 5 HP. That would be quite... And not a serious loss, but definitely a mental victory. I mean, come on. Even in Diamond, if your opponent just loses a probe to an SCV. Come on. Come on. You think less of them. The ultimate mind game. Just lose the probe, lull them into a false sense of security, and then claim the tournament. That's a Zest level play. 5 games. 5 games this time. Like and subscribe. Reaper heading in. Stargate? No. Stargate before Warp Gate. Nope. You know what? Nope. We'll just let the Reaper micro. We're gonna stop with the words for a sec. False start. Stargate finishing up. Oh, the Adept. Oh, the grenade. Oh, and it works.
What a save!
Just in time. Phoenix on the way. I think a strong choice on Blackburn. Especially if you suspect any sort of dropper starport play. Spirit with the 1-1-1. And a very safe bunker on the high ground. Phoenix is finished up. Heading across. This is more of a scouting Phoenix here. These are some of the safest openers you can put. Neither of these players wants to lose or gamble it on a super cheese. Yeah, even this Reaper Hellion. Like, oh, great probe micro. Does lose 2, but pretty acceptable losses. Yeah, this is about as safe as you can possibly play. We got Stargate with Phoenix Scout into Robo against Cyclone Viking and a bunker. Like, if we lose, it's not because I didn't try. 3 Adepts headed across, but DNS is slapping down his 3rd Nexus. Do I even hint at mech? Alright. No. Why would I say that? The 2nd barracks is added. We were in the little bit of limbo when it was unclear if it was going to be bio, but he likely would have added on more gas if he was going down that McDonald's route. Robotics Bay from DNS. Just a very calm start. Relatively. 3 racks added, tank, multiple Vikings, multiple Cyclones. Actually, quite a strong response to the Phoenixes. How many total? 2 Phoenixes, adding more. So we're going Phoenix Colossus, it looks like. Reactor starport in production. Double NG Bay. All the fixings getting added on. The only thing we're missing is a Nevermind. Twilight and a Forge for DNS. As both of them methodically clamber up the tech tree. Stim pack on the way. And we are shaping up for quite a macro showdown. DNS should be adding on those extra gateways. What is he at? 2? Yeah, we're going to need 5 more. Can I get 5 more gates? Soon. TM. Hallucinated Phoenix. But Spirit, I think, realizes. Yeah, it doesn't fully bite on that. Not that it would matter. Sees the double NG bay bunker salvaged. DNS not rushing out. He's at 65 probes. So the gateway's slowly being added on. This is full economy. Probes and pylons are the first priority, and everything else gets filled in when he has the money. 5 more gates. Up to 8. I like the bunker setup. I think bunkers are underutilized in the mid to late game, personally. Like, I don't think you should be building a bunker everywhere. But I think having a couple bunkers, they cost as much as 2 Marines, and you can get 3/4 of it back with a 25 mineral restocking fee. It feels like there's something that, in a game like this, where you're not strapped for minerals, and you have a good idea of what you're up against, why not? Why? It's kind of like sensor towers, where, sure, you don't want to spam them across the entire map like a Bronze League hero, but they are a very useful tool and can save you a lot of money in scans, potentially. I'd love to see them. Okay, so let's just get your Prima strategy guys out. That Wings of Liberty one. Well, actually not Wings of Liberty, Legacy of the Void. But what haven't we crossed off on the tech tree? We had the Templar Archives. We're getting a Ghost Academy, an Armory. Over here, the Templar Archives finishes up. Another Forge. Can we get Storm? Storm! No Storm yet. No Fleet Beacon. But a 4th, the gold base is being taken, and still the forces build. Blink. Armory's finished. Ghost Academy's finished. +2 infantry weapon. Not sure this is where you guys are supposed to be. Picks up to deny the law. Knocks down the Vikings. So DNS is fully aware of the situation. He knows that Spirit is essentially building a labyrinth of supply depots and bunkers. So I think attacking directly into that is definitely a little dicey. Oh, back at home. The rocks were cleared up to be able to move in between. Uses shield battery overcharge, but it's a short enough cooldown. Oh, the Phoenix is chasing down the medevac, but this does drag the entire army back. So Spirit can rest a little easier for now. Ghost, enhanced shockwaves, not yet researched, but the whole composition is coming together. Production tab taking up half the screen. Planetary at the 4th. DNS, Dark Shrine, +2, +1. Attacking armor, plus blink. Does he just try to bust this? Oh, look at the army supply. 111 to 74. Now, we'll have to see if this entrenched position is good enough. EMP also helps a lot against the Phoenixes. Denies them the ability to pick up those siege tanks. But the supply depots, this is a lot for the charge lot Archon to navigate. There's only so many angles to attack here on Blackburn. DNS, the scan. Oh, EMP, will he actually chase though? Sure, he can EMP, but those shields come back. So, more of a whether I can than whether I should situation. Warp Prism. Phoenix is carving a path into the... Wow, that was a bit optimistic, wasn't it? Pretty big mistake out of DNS. Actually phasing that Prism into warp mode. That kind of an unnecessary, unforced error there. Just kind of dies to Marines that stim up and target fire it. But not a huge blow to his actual army composition. Scan clears out the Observer, and now Spirit gambles it all. His teammate ByuN smiles approvingly. He picks up 4 medevacs, even some ghosts in there, and heads to the main. And what's in the main? Most of the tech tree. He can chop it off at the stump. Is there a recall? Not in the main. There's no energy. No recall at the natural quite yet either. DNS pulled out of position by a single medevac, and Spirit goes for the throne. There is no recall here, and the Natural's still pretty far away. Targets down the Dark Shrine, a single DT, drops out the rest. The upgrades are vulnerable. The Nexus, 4 pylons, warps in a handful of Zealots. Not enough to really do meaningful damage here. Spirit has carved through a lot of the tech, and of course the Nexus with 17 probes as well, but didn't find the Forges, didn't find the Templar Archives, and didn't get the Cyber Core, and on the way out ends up losing a couple of those medevacs. So this turns what was a resounding victory into a more costly one. I would still say this is a win for Spirit, but definitely cost him a little more than he hoped. Yeah, DNS still with a strong army. The real priority, if he knew, I think were those upgrades. He could have reset the +3 attack and the +2 armor, and given himself a decisive window with that upgrade advantage. Getting the Dark Shrine is nice. The Nexus is helpful, though the least helpful of all of them. This Phoenix might get very lucky. He comes in with another 2 medevacs trying to figure things out here. Neither player willing to risk their main army in a straight-up engagement. The map has been sliced in half, with a no man's land in the middle. The double medevac drop us another Phoenix added. Another armory as well for Spirit. Oh, the Phoenix is caught in the bubula. A carrier has arrived. He targets the medevacs, but they drop out their payloads. Depowers some gates. Well, there's no going home. The upgrades did complete. The Forge might be targeted. DNS, he's kind of trusting the carrier to deal with this, which is, you know... Oh, there are more carriers. It's getting interesting. Has this base mined out yet? No, he actually can't get through it. EMP on everything! Washes across the whole army. The tank slamming in. Where are you going? Really? No, stop. Go away. That's enough of that. Bit of a bungle there into the golden minerals. He needed to wait another couple minutes for Spirit to mine those out. Spirit has built a strong Terran army. EMP already showing its value, and he spots DNS in the middle of the map. The EMPs hit everything. The Disruptors try to return fire. The Vikings finding a lot of opportunity, possibly too much. Another Disruptor, fadeaway shot. The tanks are way too much to handle right now. Another scan. Yeah, that's a dangerous army. He picks up a single medevac towards the main. DNS has maintained a nearly maxed out and huge army supply throughout all this. Oh, you calm down with those Disruptors. Oh my god. Triple command center. Advanced ballistics on the fusion core. Vikings. Okay, Stalker. Finds one spot now covered. The main. Dark Shrine was rebuilt. +2 air weapons on the way. The Dark Shrine trying to stay safe, but the Marines are hunting it. Will he target? No, he's just going for the probes. Probably a good choice at this point. DNS trying to break and actually takes out the supply depots. Hasn't lost any Disruptors this game. He's got the double Ds of danger. The Disruptors and the Dark Templar. And also the carriers. Yes. The carriers. The triple Ds. Another DT warped in to defend the third. DNS. Probing for weakness while losing some probes. Blink cleans it up. The scouting with purification, Nova. Very dramatic. And Spirit picks up and heads for the main. Vikings trying to snipe carriers. There are a lot of Vikings right now. How many? 17. He doesn't have any ship weapons. He's only started +1, though. 3 medevacs. Are those just Marauders and Ghosts? So that's quite a hefty drop. Heads for the natural. Scans. Recall. Medevacs turn around after boosting. The rest of the army moves to intercept. So Spirit finds himself in a pretty awkward scenario. EMPs his own medevacs in order to try to hit the army. Well, this is a bit of a disaster. Okay, this command center is also here. Guys, I would like to... I'm defecting. You guys are so mean. Well, down goes the command center in solidarity. There are more where that came from. I'm not entirely sure where it came from, though. A nuclear missile is on the way. High-sec auto tracking, neo-steel armor. Of course, this is the last game. Yamato cannon at the fusion core. Wait, where's the fusion core? Over here. Fusion core. Everything coming in. Battlecruisers. What? He's actually going Battlecruiser, which I guess against carriers is not a terrible counter. As the carriers against the armor of the Battlecruisers, they just shrug them off. Obviously Tempest could be built, but he has to know Battlecruisers exist before that. There's no reason to build Tempest against Vikings. They're just not good. A nuke does not waste any time. Throws the nuke out. Oh, no, he canceled the cannons that would have saved him. He realized where the nuke was. I don't think he realized exactly where the ghost was, though. So that's a little awkward. The ghost dies. Every unit Spirit sends across the map dies as it tries to come home. So that's quite depressing. But DNS is starting to bank money. He's taking that top center base. Another ghost. The Viking count still quite dramatic. Yeah, those Phoenixes have no chance. Calypso missile turret, the TPM raises. The Battlecruisers online. The fleet has been called. But here come the carriers. EMP, everything, the entire front line stripped of shields, but the carriers moving their way in. Disruptors need to hit the ghost. The Vikings from the southern flag knocking the Golden Armada out of the sky. The Colossi left behind, and the carriers in a total rout. Spirit obliterates the army. Just a decisive victory for the first major engagement of the game. The Stasis Wardis have to be happy with that. And with more Battlecruisers in production, yeah, DNS had a bit of a bank to fall back on. But not that much. It looks like he's going to press the issue. The carriers did not do enough. The disruptors did not land on the ghost. The nuke to press the issue. The ghost. I mean, why not? Will it even take out the cannons? One. Spirit, not going to press his luck too hard. He's got that center base near the front. Another nuke on the way. He's used all this to establish a new base. And, of course, maintained his army. DNS has lost several thousand more minerals and 1,000 more gas. Before this was being pretty cost-effective. But Battlecruisers, when used correctly, are probably the most cost-effective in almost the entire game. At least of the conventional units. DNS decides without the Battlecruisers here, that's the best opportunity to go. The Battlecruisers jump back. And with it, intimidation. The Viking fleet just cutting down the entire air army. A volley across the bow. The carriers eat the brunt of it. Only one carrier remains. The Battlecruisers brawling it out. A disruptor in between the bubulas actually kills at least one ghost. It's hard to tell. There's a DT in the main that killed a starport. I have no idea how this happened. Disruptors looking for whatever they can get. The tanks are not closer. What is happening? Well, how did this... it only has one kill, and it's a starport. So... Alright. Nuclear vessel! Well, the northern base, Spirit. Oh no, it's a slow warp! The nuke will go... The ghost almost walks into it. Probes. Oh, another nuke. The DT eviscerates him. The DT in the main has 7 kills. I think Marines were rallied to it. And there was no detection. It might get another starport. No, the battlecruiser pops out. The rest of the battlecruisers have had enough. We'll drop to repair. Oh. The protector of the North. A single Dark Templar. DNS has been having some rough fights. So on paper, there are a couple things to factor in now. We haven't seen a game like this in quite a while. But it's recall. Is there a mothership? The mothership is back at home. So he has recall via mothership and Nexus versus the tactical jump and Yamato cooldowns. On paper, DNS with a mothership and Nexus recall can potentially outmaneuver the battlecruisers. Practically, though... Oh, now. You gotta go now. You have to recall now. It's too late. Oh, no! He had no time to waste, and he wasted it. The Yamatos land, and there's no repairing. Yes, some of the Tempest survived. Oh, you had one job. Oh, you need to recall instantly. Was that the mothership recall he used? I believe it was. Took a little too long to line it up. Yes, he can kite back the battlecruisers, but a big mistake out of DNS. And that means Spirit can press the issue. Technically, if you time it perfectly, the Yamatos will go off and be dodged by recall. Yes, that can and does happen in this scenario. But that is not how you do it. That was not it. DNS is almost out of money. Spirit, still kind of comfortably mining. I say, with the incomes even. It's just DNS is struggling to actually make a dent. Another command center heading up to the northern base. A bit of everything up here. Observer, DT. Yes, this is one of those episodes of the show where they didn't have the budget to show another big battle. So they just have the samurai ninja guy start killing people and try to make his backstory very dramatic and sad. But really, it's just his friends kicked him out of the Twilight Council, and now he's just very angry and takes it out on innocent civilians. Anyways, clears the path for a Nexus, which does technically block a command center. As does a cannon. This is the real drama. Well, here's a battlecruiser. Things could escalate from here. Well, the fight continues. And that's the end of that character. Two stalkers are warped in, which is approximately 8 stalkers too few to kill the battlecruiser. Good try, though. 2 nukes on the way. Tectonic destabilizers. The anti-building Dorito dust. A single battlecruiser making things very difficult up north, but EMP hit the entire Protoss army, but the Tempest unloaded and knocked another battlecruiser out of the sky. The trade's starting to become more even, but Spirit has a little more money in the bank. The battlecruiser's still unloading on the Nexus, and will be removing it soon. He's building a planetary nuclear missile. That is on point. That is a perfect nuke. He forces the whole army back. He's gonna kill a bunch of the static defenses. I can't believe DNS didn't deal with it. Another nuke! Oh, this one gets taken out, but DNS continually retreating. There's another DT. It has 8 kills. It's attacking the least relevant orbital. Snipe! That one did not have... They did not name... He didn't have a speaking part. So, that's how it ends. Oh. Disruptor shot. The battlecruiser's looking for an opportunity. Oracle, the battlecruiser is notably absent. Another nuke. The Ghost has to... Stalker's also finding another thing they're not very good at killing, which is planetary fortresses. It seems like Stalkers are the only good thing they're good at is killing any money you might have in the bank. So far, that seems to be their main purpose. As Spirit, with a Battlecruiser and a Planetary, a very Bronze League Heroes defense. The Dorito-dusted, the Dorito-coated kinetic coils on the Tempest. Oh, wow. They get plus 40 against buildings. EMP! Disruptor trades! Yamato cannon! The volley is coming up! The scan is enough! Mothership shows up to the party! Target fire! Vikings knock it down! Time warp, though! Hits everything! He's just fighting straight up! Stalker's warped in! Is there a battery overcharge? The Vikings brawling it out! The Stalker's underneath! The Vikings are not going to be enough, and the Battlecruisers have taken out. And Spirit! He loses the fleet! The planetary backstop is gone. And suddenly, DNS turns the tides. Too bold fighting into the batteries. He had way too much trust in the Battlecruisers, and DNS is now carving through. The only economy left. He slaps a Nexus down. The disrespect on these bases. This is not the first time either. Another EMP heading to the main. The Viking count has been rebuilt. Disruptor chases the point home. A handful of zealots are kind of getting caught up. He's going up a ramp, which is dicey in the best of times. The Vikings are whittling things down. The tank doing a lot of damage. More EMP. The air units, the carriers, no interceptors, and now it has no life. And the Battlecruisers hold. The zealots, the disjointed attack, and the thing is, like, where even, how important is the production? Why does the production matter? DNS went for the main base, but half the starport production is up to the north. The economy is essentially just whatever the hell this is right now. But DNS lost his critical mass of units driving up the ramp, and that might be a game-changing mistake. As he's out of minerals, he's long distance mining with probes. There were enough resources in the bank to rebuild a single group of Battlecruisers. He's back to 6 cruisers and a handful of Vikings, and that's it. Both of them are broke. The entire match, this 5th game, is longer than the rest of the games before this combined. I'm not 100% confident, but it feels like it. And this will decide it. Of course. The 5th pick for both sides on each team. The last to be drafted. And now it's down to them. But they were drafted. A recall. But does he have the army? We're back to Marines. But the Marines, the Tempests just do not deal with any Yamatos. And there's no recall. He used it into the Yamato cannons. DNS, and he can still jump away. It wasn't an offensive tactical jump. All he had to do was continue attacking forward. DNS has to long distance mine. He did remove the planetary, very amusingly. Neither player, they're both scraping out minerals, but Spirit still has a few that are relatively safe. This base, oh, the orbital takes so much damage, but he has to be so careful. DNS is almost nothing in production. Is there an oracle? No, revelation is not on the table. This is still happening. An SCV slaps down a Nexus. Very optimistic. There's so many Marines now. And why not? There's no splash damage. At the end of the day, no matter how advanced technologically, no matter how dramatic and explosive the game gets, at the minerals, Marines, did you know you can't spell minerals without Marines? Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know how that's relevant, but here we are. Yeah. Meanwhile, Marines and Marauders. as the times of plenty and high-tech units have ended, and whatever you can scrape out is back. He jumps! He dunks! He jams and he slams! The EMPs across the board! The Amano cannon! Confidence! Victory! The Terran army is far too much! The Stasis Wardis! Wardi! Now I'm sure ecstatic! The tournament he crafted for just this moment finally comes to its scripted fruition! No. But also, how beautiful is that? In the most epic final game, in a ace match with the 5th pick players, Wardi and his team come out on top. The Stasis Wardis freeze out the competition spirit with the tactical dunk in such dramatic fashion. Well, what an exclamation point on the end that was. Serral, gonna have to be content with a loss on this one. And that's not something that happens often. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to Wardi for putting this all on. And congratulations to the full team. Good luck, have fun. Check out these videos. And maybe occasionally a Wardi video. Okay, give it a shot when you're out of videos. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.